everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's Mo Money with the Mo Money Sports Network for the sports fan, and this is episode 3 of The Last Dance. This one focuses on Dennis Rodman and Michael Jordan and the continuing saga that is Scottie Pippen. Excuse me. So, the episode starts, it's November 28th or something, and the Bulls are playing their first game against head coach Larry Bird. It's the first meeting between Michael and Larry as a coach. So the Bulls would end up losing this game, dropping to 8-7 after 15 games. And Dennis Rodman gets kicked out of this game, and Michael's just pissed because Michael sees it as Scotty's not here. Dennis just left me by myself, and now I gotta do this all by myself. And Dennis knew he messed up. He used different language, but I'm just gonna say messed up. And Dennis comes to his room and asks him for a cigar. And Mike goes, he didn't say an apology or nothing like that, but that was his way of coming to me and apologizing because Dennis never came to my room. That's what Michael said. And so they patched things up, and Dennis knew he had to be more reliable at this point because without Scotty, it was Michael and Dennis. And not to say that that was the whole team, but that was the core, was Michael, Dennis, and Scotty. And the Bulls go on a bit of a run to the point where they're 24-11 by the time Scotty gets back. And then Scotty, who had told the Bulls he'd never play for them again, realized he'd probably get fined, and after playing hardball, would lose money. Scotty didn't want to do that, so Scotty came back, and Dennis had a 33, or a bunch of 33s, put into his hairdo that night to honor Scotty's return. And they said that Scotty had 14 points, 4 boards, and 5 assists in his return. The Bulls win, and that is the present day portion of The Last Dance. And if you're enjoying the content, please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Would really be appreciated. As well, they go back into Michael's career and they show the Phil Collins era, and they show the moment where Phil is coaching his first game with Michael and is pretty close and is coming down to the wire. Excuse me. All Mike says to his new coach is, relax. I'm not going to let you lose your first game. And Mike goes and he hits the shot. And, Phil and Mike had disagreements. And the funny thing about this was they displayed their sense of humor in the fact that he's like, there, we kissed and made up because he kissed him right in the press conference, and they're all having a good chuckle about it. But the thing was, as those couple of years progressed under Phil or Collins, he was a good coach, but he wasn't the right man for the job, if that makes any sense, because he'd get the Bulls to the Eastern Conference Finals, but he couldn't get them past the bad boy Pistons. And that's when Phil came in. But that's getting ahead in the story, as the Bulls lost 4-2 to the Pistons with Dennis Rodman, which ties into this whole story. And then, you know, this documentary kind of goes back and forth, but essentially, then they flip over to Dennis Rodman's history in Detroit and how he was just a pest and he locked down everybody from Magic to everybody. Everybody that got in Dennis's way. He was basically the best defender in the league as well as the best rebounder. Couldn't score to save his life, but he was the most outstanding defensive player. And then it talks about his upbringing, how he didn't really play basketball and he kind of stayed away from this, that, and the other thing. But when he found basketball, it was like his thing. But he said, "I love Michael, I love Scotty, but they couldn't do what I do." He said, "I like to get my nose broken. I like to get beat up. I like to get cut. I like the physicality of it, and that's what I do." And he says that if you take me off this team, do they win titles? He said, "I don't think so." And he's probably right. Because without Michael, without Scotty, they don't win either. But without Dennis, they probably don't win titles. And that's the long and short of it. And Dennis is a weird case. He went from straight black hair with the Pistons to everything under the sun by the time he got to Chicago. Now, he was acting out in San Antonio, and because he used to play for the Spurs as well. And the Bulls thought that with their structure and they could not control Dennis, but tame Dennis a little bit with Michael and Scotty. And funny story from The Last Dance was Phil went to go see Dennis, and Dennis was wearing the big floppy hat and all his get up. And Phil goes, "Hey Dennis, stand up and shake my hand, take your hat off, and this kind of thing." And Phil goes, "Do you want to play for the Bulls?" And Dennis just kind of goes, "Whatever." So on, I believe it was October 10th, 1995, they signed Dennis and bring him in. And it goes back to present day again. And one of the things I found funniest was they go right to where Dennis is feeling frustrated with Scotty being back because he became kind of an afterthought. And again, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. But anyway, Dennis gets to the point where he's stressed out. And he says, "I would play the game for free, but you get paid for the stuff after because it's not fun." And eventually he goes to Phil and says, Phil Jackson, that is, in 1998. And he says, "I need a vacation." So Phil goes to Mike and says to Mike, "Dennis wants to talk to you. He's got something to tell you." And Mike goes, "If it's coming from Dennis, Dennis wants to tell me something, it's definitely not going to be something I want to hear." So he goes to talk to Dennis, and Dennis goes, "I need a vacation." And Mike goes, "If anybody needs a vacation, it's me." And Dennis goes, I just need a vacation. I need to unwind. I need to let loose. Can I go to Vegas?" And Phil goes, "Well, what are we going to do?" And then Phil goes, "Can you make your vacation 48 hours?" And then Dennis goes, "I'll take whatever you can give me." So he's going to Las Vegas. And the episode ends with him firing up the motorbike as the credits roll. And again, until next time, may your ego come from a place that keeps you humble. I'm Mo